Over the weekend, there was a bit of news that was almost ignored due to Cardinal Oulé's gaslighting response to Archbishop Vigano. The news in question is the announcement of a formal investigation into the allegations regarding Archbishop Theodore McCarrick that will be conducted by the Holy See. This sounds like great news, but the release of the Oulé document coinciding with the announcement of the investigation does raise some questions, because obviously the Oulé document is the unofficial response to Archbishop Vigano coming from the Vatican. But first, our dear friend Cardinal Blaise Soup of Chicago has raised a formal response in support of Cardinal Oulé. The following is the statement from our dear friend Cardinal Blaise Soup. In a statement released by the Vatican Press Office on Saturday, October 6th, Pope Francis pledged a thorough study of the documentation present in the archives of the Holy See regarding the former Cardinal, now Archbishop Theodore McCarrick. The Holy Father took the occasion to renew his commitment to address the scourge of abuse within the Church, and to do everything possible to prevent it. In the Vatican Declaration, the Pope also stated that the Church will not tolerate any cover-ups or accept a different standard for bishops who abuse or cover up, calling this behavior a, quote, form of clericalism that is no longer acceptable, end quote. This clear statement does not come as a surprise to me, for I am convinced that Pope Francis has no hesitation in following a path of accountability. Wow, really? As he remarked during his visit to the United States in 2015, we will follow the path of truth wherever it may lead. Cough, cough, dubia, cough. The first installment of fulfilling this renewed pledge of openness came the very next day by Cardinal Marc Oulé, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, who has served as the prefect of the Congregation for Bishops since his appointment by Pope Benedict XVI in 2010. In an authoritative and compelling manner, he provided a detailed response to the central charges against Pope Francis regarding the case of Archbishop McCarrick. Cardinal Oulé made clear that the Holy Father has given him the full freedom to speak in a way that provides information based on his personal experience and the documents of the Congregation for the Bishops. As an aside, Cardinal Oulé was recalled to Rome just before he released his document. In his capacity as prefect, Cardinal Oulé also called to account those attacking or countenancing attacks on the Pope and the Church. In that spirit, I join my voice to those of the prefect and of the president of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, in urging all in the Church, particularly the bishops, to reaffirm our communion with Pope Francis, who is the visible guarantor of the communion of the Catholic Church. Okay, then. If you were expecting anything but empty platitudes coming from Cardinal Soup, I hate to disappoint you. But this isn't merely an empty statement. Remember that this statement is made by the same cardinal who attempted to send an innocent priest to St. Luke's Hospital for reconditioning. The priest in question is Father Kalchik, who was forced out of his parish for the high crime and misdemeanor of burning a heretical flag used by a Gomorrah lifestyle priest in the 1970s. Cardinal Soup sent two young priests to act as thugs, enforcing Father Kalchik to pack his bags and follow them to St. Luke's, which is a notorious mental health facility that has a reputation for treating pedophile priests, but is in reality used to recondition troublesome conservative and traditionalist priests who dare to speak out against contraception, abortion, and the Gomorrah lifestyle, but also to implicitly put them under suspicion of pedophilia by sending them to a facility that publicly boasts about the efficacy of their work in rehabilitating priests who have fallen under suspicion of having pedophilic tendencies. Keeping all that in mind, calls for morality coming from a prelate like that ring especially hollow. The Oulé statement came on the heels of the announcement of an investigation into former Cardinal, now Archbishop McCarrick's misdeeds and related cover-up. The Vatican will apparently be doing the investigation. I would put the article up on the screen like I typically do, but apparently Catholic News Service, where the article comes from, uses web design templates from the 1990s, and the font is simply too small to make work on the screen with my limited tech skills. A link is in the description if you want to read the article for yourself. The following article again comes from the Catholic News Service. Vatican City. Promising a thorough review of how the Vatican handles allegations of sexual misconduct by former Cardinal Theodore E. McCarrick, the Vatican acknowledged that what happened may fall short of the procedures that are in place today. The Holy See is conscious that from the examination of the facts and of the circumstances, it may emerge that choices were taken that would not be consonant with a contemporary approach to such issues. However, as Pope Francis has said, we will follow the path of truth wherever it may lead, the Vatican said in a statement released on October 6th. The Executive Committee of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops has said in August that they would seek such an investigation, and leaders of the Bishops' Conference met with Pope Francis on September 13th to tell him how the church in the United States has been lacerated by the evil of sexual abuse. After meeting with the Pope, neither the bishops nor the Vatican mentioned an investigation. However, the president and vice president of the conference, Cardinal Daniel DiNardo of Galveston, Houston, and Archbishop Jose Gomez of Los Angeles, are at the Vatican for the Synod of Bishops and likely to meet with the Pope again on October 8th. Renewing its commitment to uncovering the truth, the Vatican also said that information gathered from its investigation, as well as a further thorough study of its archives regarding the former cardinal, will be released in due course, whatever that means. Both abuse and its cover-up can no longer be tolerated, and a different treatment for bishops who have committed or covered up abuse in fact represents a form of clericalism that is no longer acceptable, the Vatican said. According to the statement, the Pope ordered a preliminary investigation by the Archdiocese of New York after an allegation that Archbishop McCarrick abused of teenagers 47 years ago. The allegation subsequently was found to be credible. Pope Francis, the Vatican said, accepted Archbishop McCarrick's resignation from the College of Cardinals after grave indications emerged during the course of the investigation. In the weeks after the allegations were made public, another man came forward claiming he was abused as a child by Archbishop McCarrick, and several former seminarians have spoken out about being sexually harassed by the cardinal at a beach house he had. The article then continues by giving a slightly slanted take on Vigano's statement that caused the uproar that now rocks the church. What's not being said in that article, or in the statement that they sourced it from, is this: who is going to be doing the investigation? Will it be members of the Roman Curia? If so, then I'll have to take a hard pass on accepting that investigation as legitimate. Is it going to be the U.S. bishops? Again, hard pass. How about the 9 cardinals who advised Pope Francis? Double hard pass. The only bishops I would trust to investigate this, broadly speaking, are those from the African conferences of bishops, as they have the reputation of not taking the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah lightly at all. Otherwise, the investigators must be independent investigators with no dirty ties to any of the bishops, the Curia, any political party in this country, or any organization of those kinds. At all. Another question that comes to mind is this: what will the investigators be investigating? I ask this because the popular narrative is that this is a pedophilia crisis, when the overwhelming majority of the issues with McCarrick come from his treatment of seminarians, not children. And the broader sex abuse crisis in the church is not pedophilia, but same-sex predation targeting physically mature but mentally immature young men, i.e. teenagers. That is an entirely different legal classification of this problem, and the Catholic media is largely ignoring this. As an anecdotal example, on Facebook I saw a statement from one of the bishops talking about all the great work they're doing to protect kids in light of the McCarrick scandal. They made no mention of protecting seminarians, so I simply asked in the comments, what about seminarians? I actually had people responding to me saying they needed proof that seminarians were being harassed because they'd never heard about this problem before. Many elements of the Catholic media are themselves complicit in covering for the Gomorrah cult that is in the church now, and by refusing to report on the same-sex predation that plagues U.S. seminaries. If the Vatican investigation does not include an investigation into same-sex predation and the abuse of seminarians, then the investigation is invalid, and we all know that the Lavender Mafia won't permit any such investigation from happening. In closing, remember this: Archbishop Vigano said that he has a stash of documents to be released upon his untimely death. Begin to wonder if Vigano should just release some of those documents if they truly are damning. At least he should if the investigation turns out to be a farce like most of us expect it to be. So what do you think? Put some of the questions you have about this investigation in the comments below. And please pray for the Church and pray for the liberation and exaltation of Holy Mother the Church. If you like videos like this, please like and share this video and subscribe. And also click that notification bell because YouTube has some weird notification policies that might keep you from actually finding out that I've uploaded something. But I can be found on Twitter and Facebook with links in the description. For Return to Tradition, I'm Anthony Stein. Viva Cristo Rey.